I want to give a special thanks to this year for everything you've taught me, everything you've exposed me to, and all of the ways that you've helped me to learn how to see better. I just want to take a moment to say thank you. What's up, everybody? This is Drew Davis, your host of the podcast, Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. And I want to take a time out, special time to give a special thanks to 2024. Yeah, who's done that one in a while? Thank you for 2024. Thank you for the year. And thank you for the year in its totality of teachings. And it's important to be able to say that for me, and it should be for you as well, because you know what? You won't get another chance to say thank you to 2024 once it's gone. And when you look at this symbolic moment in time as a symbolic opportunity for you to express gratitude in a collective fashion, is a very unique approach to reflection and wrapping up the year. So that's what I want to take you through today. It's just a couple of things to think about that may help you be able to put a nice little bow or a ribbon on the year so you can close it out properly. All right, so let's get into this. 2024. The end of the year is here, my dear. So the question is, have you been filled with joy or fear? You know, just taking a few moments to really run the tapes and look back on the year in its entirety is a good practice in general. And it's a little bit of a tradition or practice that I like to do annually. And obviously it's something that we can do more than annually, but taking a real walkthrough of the entire year is an exercise that not many do. What were you doing last January? Do you remember Valentine's Day? Hey, what was St. Patty's Day like? How was your Easter plans? You know, really walking through, and not like it's necessarily a chronological thing, but taking the entire year and think about what you're grateful for. And I'm talking the good, the bad, and the ugly. What's all there? Run the tapes, look at it. Who did you become this year? How did you grow? What was the biggest element of change in your world in the last 12 months? It's kind of wild if you take a second to think about it, because we can roll into a new year kind of feeling like the same old me, you know, same old us, however you want to label it, the same old person, and not seeing much change year to year. But hey, you know what? Positive outlook, positive outcome. That's one of the sayings I've been onto for a couple of decades now. Positive outlook, positive outcome. But we can also operate in a state of default. Most people walk around with not a smile on their face. It's not a full frown, but it's definitely not a smile. It's kind of like medium to medium down. If I were to say from my observations walking around, how many times do you see somebody walking around with a beaming smile from ear to ear to the point where it stands out? You see a person in a great mood. You're like, man, that person looks like they must have won the lottery or something. They're walking around in a good old mood. Isn't that great? It is great because they got a great outlook on things. So how do you get a great outlook on things? Well, you get an actual outlook. You start by looking out, looking around, looking inward, taking time to look. And in this instance, it's taking time to look back, to look inward, to look back, to reflect, to really assess all of the totality of your experiences and what did you really gain from those. You know, for some, 2024 was a great year. For some, 2024 was a tough year. For some, 2024 was just like 2023, which was pretty much like 2022. And you get where I'm going with this. And so sometimes you really need to run the tape, sit down and actually look at it and analyze and kind of sum up those activities. But you may ask, you know, how do I do this? What's the best way to go about it? Well, what my wife and I tend to do is we will have a win wire. We will literally celebrate our wins. Typically do it on a Wednesday. Celebrate your wins day. Get it? But in this instance, it doesn't have to be a weekly thing, taking that one time where you're saying, hey, if I carved a day or two, carved a weekend out, carved the last a couple days out of the year to kind of slow it down. No need to be redlined to the finish line. All depends on the race you're running though, right? So knowing that it doesn't have to be one way or another, you are able to set up the setup. So how did your year start off? How did things really get going? What was it like to hit your cruising altitude? When did you start bringing things in to settle it down and coast into the finish, push to the finish? What was the scenario like? But one of the exercises is actually going through and thinking about what were some of the most exciting moments of your year. What were some of the things that brought the biggest surprise? I know I had a boatload of surprises in my world this year. It does get exciting when you realize life change is in the air. It's like, wow, that's exciting when you think of the possibilities and everything that comes with it. On the flip side of things, in the cycle of life and our experiences and our relationships, people come and people go. Sometimes it's in the physical sense, like life and death, and sometimes it's a symbolic sense. Birth of new relationships, death and divorce of old relationships, being able to go through experiences where you take stock of what's good for me and what's not. Did you learn anything from the holidays and realize, I got to get that out of the refrigerator, out of the pantry, having too much of that? Yeah, Halloween was a reminder. That stuff's good. and the kids bring home a lot of bags of that stuff, so watch out. It can throw you off a little bit. But it was great to see the consistency of those summertime salads and a cool, refreshing, crisp bed of lettuce and other vegetables on top, and how that can really help to spur good habits, one building on top of another, using the heat of the summer to rise early and get the most out of the day. These were wins for us. And not to get so specific, but to help you kind of dream with me a little bit and recognize that it's really closing your eyes and thinking through and thinking back and what put a smile on your face. And understanding there may be some cries, and it's not to go there and sit and be stuck in those places, but what can you pull from those experiences? If tears fell, what was the reason? Did it feel better once they fell? Or was it just feedback to give you insight on opportunities to make different decisions as you look forward? So reflecting on the year is not dwelling on the past. Reflecting on the year is empowering yourself to look ahead without the lens, or the cloudy lenses rather, of emotion. We're able to enhance our perceptual filters of how we view things. We had an experience where a person has left our world unexpectedly, and they were twists and turns, and you're thinking, why did things go that way? We wouldn't have understood why or the purpose for that behavior. And sometimes things are what they are. You roll with it and you move on. You take and you learn from those experiences, and you realize, okay, this wasn't what I thought it was. I can learn from this and progress and be a better person and have better judgment in certain scenarios where I need to make decisions thoughtfully. So there's so many instances where we can continually enhance our vision. And why I'm talking about this is the whole premise of learn how to see better, to improve your vision the longer you're living. So you see, that's what I'm doing here. I'm sharing some of the best insights that I've been able to obtain from my journey of personal development and the things that I pick up along the way. And the end of year reflection can be a real big one, because we tend to really kind of overestimate what we can get done in a short period of time, like a month or two, and underestimate what we get done in a year's time frame. So take the time to really look at that year time frame and think, wow, I did some great things. I overachieved in certain areas of my health. I'm proud of myself. Okay, there's certain areas where I had errors in judgment, and I'd like to refine those a little bit and think more clearly in situations where I might not have all the data. Pause, hold back, gather more facts before moving forward. All of these are situations that might be unique to me in my scenario, but what about you in your scenario? What have you learned? What were decisions you thought were great, but come back to bite you in a way that's unexpected? What things did you have that were unexpected that turned out to be a huge benefit It made you feel really good about them. You want to pat yourself on the back. You want to be able to capture these wins because they can help to propel you forward as you look and realize you have a strength that you haven't leaned all the way into yet. Or you might even have a fear that you leaned into and overcame. How powerful is that looking forward when you're no longer shackled by the chains of fear and you can move forward in faith? What do those steps look like looking ahead? Removing that weight from your persona and allowing yourself to rise up. So this is essentially a nice little motivational message mixed with a friendly reminder to do what's best, reflect, collect all sorts of gems of knowledge and experience that you've picked up and cherish those for a moment, because you can channel all that good stuff into 2025 with a new fervor, fire lit, and you're ready to go to achieve some of the things that matter most to you. So with that, wishing you all happy holidays, happy new year. Let's make this one of your best ever. Until I catch you on the next one, this is your host, Drew Davis, signing off from Learn How to See Better. It's the only podcast out there that'll improve your vision the longer you listen. Catch you on the next one.